So we need to assign permissions for the office coordinator to be able to manage that office's catalog. And so that's why there's a coordinator or list of coordinators per office. So that means, starting with an office, I want to get a list of coordinators. So how am I going to do that? I am going to say that I want to have coordinators, and that is going to be an array. So I can say, what's my preposition? What's the thing that I'm searching for? So j.for, and I know that I'm starting with office, and I want to get to coordinators. So that means I can use office dot, or no, I'm sorry, I can use coordinator there it is, dot of office. So that gets me all of the coordinators for that office, and it brought that in from the model. That's good. And then the next thing that I want, now that I've got those coordinators, is I have a view model declaration. So I say, these are all the things that I want you to get about those coordinators. So one thing could be the coordinator themselves. Well, that's a field of the coordinator itself. So starting with the coordinator, I can get any property that I want from that fact. And so I just get the fact itself. That's the coordinator. But then I might also want the coordinator's name. So how do I do that? So that name would be a property. So that starts with a preposition, but now this preposition, look right here, it even knows what it starts with. It starts with a coordinator. And then I need to get from the coordinator to the name. So I'm going to say, let's do coordinator.user. So that should, oops, prepositions always start with j.for, coordinator.user. So that's how I get started. Coordinator.user doesn't exist yet. So let's go ahead and add that. This is going to be a template function. So starting with the coordinator, we're going to want to return the coordinator user. So return j.match coordinator user. So that's what I want to return. However, anytime I access a predecessor, predecessor is a field of a fact. It's another fact that came before. So the user is the predecessor of the coordinator fact. Anytime I access a predecessor like this, I need to ensure that that field exists. Otherwise, this is going to throw an undefined reference exception. So I need to ensure that coordinator has, and then I can specify any of the fields that I know from the type declaration that it has. So here is user. So this is taking information about the type and then giving it to the runtime, because all of this type information is erased by the time you get to runtime. This just gets compiled into JavaScript, and JavaScript doesn't know about these kinds of types. So we ensure that a coordinator has a user field, and now we can match against it. So we match just exactly that user. So now starting with the user, we can then continue to navigate. We can get more information. I've got that user. I want to get that user's name. So we say, and then then a specification. So no j.for, we're not starting a new preposition. We need a specification, a template function. So we are getting the user name, names for user. So that's going to get me a bunch of username facts. And now that I've got those usernames, I've got a selector. So my selector for username, n, is going to get n dot value. That's the thing that contains the string that's the username. And now that I know that I'm looking for a string, what's the initial value? What's the string that we start with? Empty string. Okay. So that gets me an array of coordinators with a bunch of names. So let's see how we can apply that. So now this coordinators array is coming in to this Office specification. So that means when I map these properties, I can map it right here. Let me expand this because this is starting to get a little bit scrolly. And this ain't Commander Keen. I don't want no side scroll. Alright. Coordinators. Just comment if you get the Commander Keen reference. Now, office name was in there, and coordinators is the next one. So, coordinators comes on in. What is coordinators? Well, it's going to describe the type to me. Well, it should be describing the type to me. It should be describing it like that. But what I can do is, let's just see what this ends up being. So inside of card content right here, I'm just going to put a JSON.stringify coordinators. Just show me what that thing is. This is a cool little trick that I like to use sometimes in order to see what metadata types are bound to, and then eventually we can add the user interface to them. Okay, so we refresh offices. Oh, look, we've got little array symbols in here. Yes, I know it looks like a little rectangle, but there's a little gap in between there. That's really an array symbol.